Hello, welcome to Art School Live. I am your host for today, Kari Stober. Eric is traveling in Italy right now, getting to paint those beautiful, beautiful scenes in Italy. And I get to be your host for this week, and I'm very excited for today's guest. We have Sarah Calandro with us today, and she is going to be sharing something new with us that I don't think we've ever seen before on Art School Live. So I'm very excited about this. Can we bring Sarah in, please? Hello, welcome, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Where are you calling in from?
I am in the Richmond, Virginia area.
Oh, wonderful. I've never been to Virginia. That's one of the places that I need to check out.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. I love it.
So, Sarah, you are doing something new that we've not done before on Art School Live. Can you share a little bit about what you're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so I have been playing around probably for the past year or so, starting to use markers in my work, more for exploring thumbnail sketches, just to prepare or plan a painting. And I first started out using them for just value studies. So I just had like a range of grayscale markers that I would use. And then that turned into, I bought some opaque markers. So it started off with alcohol markers, but then I bought some opaque grayscale markers and I started playing with those just to layer up and be able to get even more lights and definition. And then that turned into starting to buy a bunch of color markers. So now I haven't counted, I probably have like 300 markers in my studio.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today.
Perfect. Well, let's go ahead and get this show started so Sarah can take it away.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhoads. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhoads.
Kari Stober, welcome to Art School Live, everyone. We're so glad you're joining us today. I have with us a very special guest, Sarah Calandro, and she is going to be sharing something new with us on Art School Live. She's going to show us how she uses acrylic markers or opaque markers for some studies, some sketches, to get you prepared for your actual painting. So I'm very excited for this demo. Let's go ahead and let Sarah take it away.
Great. Okay, so you can see my face, you can see my sketchbook here, and I have my reference image. So I just pulled up, I wanted to do something simple today because I know we don't have a lot of time. So
simple is always a great way to start out, so that's good.
Yeah. So this is what I have. I have one more reference that we could try if there's time at the end. But first I'm gonna walk you through how I do a value sketch. So here I have my range of values, and you probably can't tell too much by the scale right now, but I have both transparent grays here on the right, which is these like 𝗣𝗏𝗄𝗎, 𝗣𝗏𝗄𝗎. I'm just kind of like labeling my markers. And then I have on the left, these are my opaque markers. So I like to have a little chart for myself where I will keep track of, if I'm doing a sketch, I need to know which markers I have available to me, because very quickly you can mix them all up. So I have them also organized here in this little marker carrier. So I'm going to start with my very lightest. This is my very lightest. I always start with my alcohol markers. And it's kind of like, I'm not a watercolor painter, but if I were to be a watercolor painter, I feel like using alcohol markers is kind of like a watercolor process. I could be wrong. So if you're a watercolor... Oh, go ahead.
What's the property of the alcohol marker? Is that more opaque? Is it transparent? Is that why you think it would be closer to watercolor?
It's transparent. It's totally transparent. But they are not light fast. So they're not, alcohol markers are not recommended for final artwork that you're going to have for a long time.
Right.
So I only use them for, if I'm doing these marker studies, I will use them and more as like an underlayer And then if I decide well, maybe I like it, maybe I want to frame it, then I will usually go over top with the opaque markers, because the opaque markers are light fast.
Okay.
And so those are, I use this brand, the 𝗨𝗏𝗏 brand, and then I have this other brand here, and they are long lasting, or they say they are, so.
Good to know.
Yeah. So this is my lightest one, my lightest transparent marker, the 00. And I just kind of like sketched out ahead of time my drawing. But what I like to do before I do anything else is I like to squint. I look at my subject. Right now I'm painting from a photo, but usually I would be painting from life. And I will fill in the biggest shapes of shadow. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. And I kind of I try to avoid seeing the object. I want to see just light and shadow, and I want to kind of draw over where different planes intersect. So where the bowl hits the table, for example, I'm gonna sketch over it and just do the biggest possible shape that I can find.
Okay.
So just kind of put that in, and let me get the whole thing up here. And it's very light. Did you have a question?
Nope, I'm just watching.
Okay. So I get that in, and then I work my way towards, and actually it's interesting because this process also mimics a lot my oil painting process. So whenever I'm painting with oil paint, I usually start with probably a middle value paint, and I start with my drawing, and then I fill in oil paint just the same way. And then I kind of push my way slowly, like working towards the dark. So I don't go darkest right away and then lightest right away. I kind of push my way into it. So let me get a slightly darker value. So this is my warm gray 04. That would be this one here, and still transparent. And now I'm going to look in the shadow, and I'm going to ask myself, what is the darkest shadow shape that I see? And I very clearly see a dark shadow shape right here. And it kind of comes around, maybe it goes down. The cast shadow looks pretty dark. I'm imagining that's just because of the photo, but I'll go with it. Usually a cast shadow on a white table is going to be lighter. I'll just go with it. So that feels darker. I might have gone a little too far over here, but that's okay. This is darker. And now I'm going to look at it, kind of just examine it, ask myself, how does that feel? Where can I go next? And I think I want to go one step darker. So with the markers, you have to be careful, because if you go too dark too soon, you can't pick it back up. So
Right.
I like to kind of push my way towards the dark, like I said before. I'm going to go even darker there, and there. And I'm going to leave this this shape here lighter, because that looks lighter to me than the shadow side of the bowl. And then I see it goes a little bit darker there. Sometimes I'll do these hatches where I don't fill it all the way in, but that allows for the value to seem a little bit lighter in an area.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now if I squint and I look at my drawing, it's starting to feel like form, and that's what I'm looking for with these kind of drawings. I just want to kind of start to get a sense of form and space. I'm going to pull out my warm gray 4, because I think I'm going to get something a little bit darker on these apples here, because they do feel a little bit darker on the shadow side. And even over here. All right. And now I think I have enough in the shadow. So now I'm going to move to the light. And since I have this tone paper, it is a value. It's probably, you know, depending on what value, this is my value card, but probably it's close to a value 2 or 3.
Mhm.
So I can push it up. I can use the value of the paper itself to be a value in the light, and then I can push up the value one more step if I use one of my opaque markers. So this number 15 here, I think that's this one. No, that's not this one. That's this one. It's my 15. So if I go and put some of this on here, I can go lighter.
Okay.
So I'm looking in the light, and I am asking myself, what is the lightest value in the light? So I'm going to go around and do this lightest value part on the table. I'm not going to fill in the apples yet, because those feel darker to me than the lightest value.
As my son would say, this is very satisfying to watch.
It is. It comes to life pretty quickly. And it's one of those things that so whenever I'm teaching students, I help a lot of students with getting better at their skills and understanding value. And this is one of those activities that you don't have to use paint. You can practice value without using, well, you're using paint markers, so technically you are using paint, but you're not mixing oil paint or acrylic paint. But you're able to solve a value equation almost. So you're kind of like, my students have told me, oh, it's like a puzzle. It's like I'm solving a puzzle, and I can do them really fast. And just play around. Like, you could do the same one over and over again and try to solve it in different ways. So that's something I really like about it. So that looks pretty good from a value perspective. How much time has passed so far?
It's only 10:15, so you're good.
Good. Okay, great. So I'll do a couple more things on this one. Let's see. So I have a good like baseline. I've got 2 values in the light. I've got my green apples in the light, and then I've got my table in the light. And then I've got pretty much 2 values in shadow. I've got the lighter areas of shadow, and then I've got the darker areas of shadow. And in general, I could leave it like this. This would be a fine study. If I were exploring composition and I just wanted to see the big shapes, I could leave it just like this. Or I could go a little bit further. I could break up the shapes a little bit more if I want to see more variation. I'll show you how I would do that. So if in the light, I could push in a few lighter. So this is my 0, 0, which I didn't even put on here. This is my lightest. Or actually, do I want to use this one? This one might be too light. I think I'm going to go one darker. This 13. I can push in a few more areas where it just goes a little bit lighter if I want to draw your eye to a spot.
Sarah, with these opaque markers, are these acrylic, or are they oil, or are they something else?
They're acrylic.
Okay.
They're acrylic markers. I've tried some oil paint markers, like the kind that you have to shake.
Yeah.
And then those are, I mean, these Posca pens, these are also acrylic markers, but and you have to shake them, and they work really well. These are actually the best like shake ones that I've found. But the oil paint markers, I haven't found anything that just flows nicely, where you don't have to, I don't feel like I have to worry about with these that pool of paint coming out, you know, how, you know, what happens sometimes with the,
Yeah, it sometimes comes out really too quickly and just creates a big puddle.
yeah, so that will happen, but that doesn't happen with these. So I like this. And these layer on top of each other really nicely too. So if I want to go and edit, I can. So I can go and push in a few lighter lights, and then I can go push in a few darker shadows. I usually try to stay with my transparent markers in the shadow and opaque in the light when I'm doing a value study. But I can use something if I want to go and edit. So here's this is too light. Let's see. I want to use, what's a good, like this 15. This is a value that's close to the paper color. So say I just wanted to, I don't know, change an edge. It looks really light right now, but it will dry darker. I can adjust the value, or I can adjust the drawing and pull the drawing in if I want to. Let's see, I want to do one more thing in the shadow. So I'm going to go with my darkest. I don't think I used my darkest gray. This is my warm gray 09. And I'm going to go and put in just a few little darkest details to show where that bowl kind of like hits the surface of the table. Maybe I'll go put a little occlusion shadow there underneath that apple. I'll go into my darkest area. And let's see, let's refine my ellipse. One other fun thing to do is to go and put some highlights on the ellipse. So let me get this. This G24 might be a good, that's this value. Might be a good value to use for the highlight on the bowl.
Loretta is asking, do you have any trouble with those acrylic markers drying out? She hasn't had very good luck with them.
So this brand, I have only been using this brand for, probably started using these in January. And actually, this marker itself I just got, but the ones from January still work. And so I'm okay with it, but I think if you use them a lot, they might dry out. They might not last forever. Okay, one more thing. I was gonna go put a couple highlights on the apples. So now I can go and use not my lightest light, because I don't want to go lighter than the lightest light of the table. I can put a couple highlights on there. You probably need to do something to show where the middle of the apple is. And there we have a value study. Now I could keep refining it if I wanted to, but we don't have time for that. So any other questions on this first value study?
No, you have done a fantastic job explaining everything.
Great.
The better the answers, the fewer the questions.
Awesome. So I have an option. I can do another version of this one in color, or I can do a more complex setup of my daughter, like a figure sketch in black and white. So do you have a preference, Kari?
We've got 30 minutes. So why don't we, since we've already done this in black and white, why don't we do the color version just so they can kind of see how you relate the two together? Because I know for me, like I was talking yesterday with an artist about how I really struggle with value when I'm looking at things with color. So I think that this would be a good chance to see kind of, we've got the value scale, how does it translate to color?
Okay, cool. Let's do that. So let me get my color markers. So the color markers are much more of a or at least I feel like I am less familiar with all of the colors I have because I have so many colors. So it feels very exploratory. And whenever I'm using the color markers, the process feels a lot different to me than value. Usually I will do a value sketch first. So I already have an idea of what my overall value shapes are going to be. And maybe I even know what my composition is going to be. But the color, because you're limited, you can't mix your color. You have it's the color that the markers are,
right?
And you can layer them and you can hatch. So I like to kind of put different colors next to each other with lines, but it's always an experiment. So I'm just going to caveat this conversation like this is,
right.
I never know what's going to happen, and I have to play around and see, okay, how can I make something with the colors that I have.
So it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like pastel, where because you can't mix the color, you've got to have, 800 pastel sticks so that you've got every color.
Exactly. It's the same. It's a very similar idea. But what I like about it, what has been helpful for me is it's helped me see color in a different way. Because with paint, I can just mix the color I want and put it up on the canvas. But with these markers, I have to be creative, and I have to think about, well, how do I take two color, like how do I create the feeling of that color when I don't have the color?
Right.
And so I have to put two colors together. So yeah, that probably is a lot like pastel.
Before you get started with the colored markers, Carl's asking, if you muddy the tip of a lighter colored acrylic marker, can you clean it?
I have found it depends on the brand. So if you have the like the shake brands, these have the tips that you can pull out and you can clean them, you can replace them, all that stuff. But I've not done that yet with any of my acrylic markers. And with these, you can't pull the tip out. But whenever they get dirty, I just go on a separate sheet and I just clean it out by until new paint starts to come out, and that usually works for me. But I do find that it is good to let it dry before you start layering them, because you really don't want that to happen where they're mixing together.
Well, so that's what we're talking about with the color and not having them. Could you do that though? Could you do wet into wet to try to mix the color versus what you want?
I mean, that's happened to me before where it starts accidentally mixing, and it's not, sometimes it's not great results, but I have had good results where I'm like, ooh, it kind of works, but it's really hard to control. So I don't try to do it that way. And if it accidentally happens, then, I just work with it.
Okay. Awesome. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with neutral. Again, I'm going to start with my same, this is my 00 color. And let me make sure I have a good, always need a good scrap sheet to test colors on whenever I'm doing the color. So I'm going to have this here. And I will go ahead and do the same thing I did before. I'm going to separate shadow from light. So that I can see where my shadow shapes are and my light shapes are before I even start thinking about color. And this is how I started painting as well. Same idea. Okay, so shadow and light. And now I want to, so when I'm painting, and I do the same thing whenever I'm doing these marker sketches, I ask myself, okay, what is the most saturated color? And I squint and I look in, I guess I can look in the shadow first. I'll ask myself that question, what's the most saturated in it?
Sorry, because I'm pastel, so color is still kind of new to me. I'm learning color right now. when it comes to color mixing, paint, all that kind of stuff. When you say saturated color, are you talking about what's most chromatic, or are you talking about value?
Chromatic.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's the most color? I should have defined that. But what is the most chromatic color that I see? In this setup, there is a very saturated blue. And the most saturated is right around here. I can't point to it on the photo, but
right around the rim of the bowl.
Right around the rim is where that saturated blue happens. And then and that's more shadow. Like that's the shadow, most saturated blue and shadow. And then if I look in the light, it's the green. It's where the apples are lit. So those are the two colors that I wanna start with first, and I wanna kind of get those nailed down. So I need to find them. I'm gonna start in shadow. So let's see, I have a few blues here, and I'm also starting with my transparent colors. So same idea as before. Let's see, I don't want to go too dark actually, because I want to work my way towards the dark. So let me try this. This looks like a purple, but I think that it's going to feel blue. Yep, it does. So it feels blue. And it's not, I'm not gonna go too bright in chroma yet, but I am gonna try to get what is on average, what does that saturated color feel like? And I'm even gonna go into the shadow because I know I'm gonna layer up these colors. I'll let myself go into this dark area. And that feels good as a start. Okay, so I've got something. I could keep going with the blues, or I could switch over to green, which actually I think I'll do that because I have found that working with fewer colors and moving a little bit more slowly with these is effective. So if I picked this color, I'm going to leave it out so I don't lose track of it, and keep it over here separate from everything else. That way I know that is the marker that I've used so far. Okay, so let me find something in green. I've got some green colors. These are all so it's kind of more like a yellow green. It's not a blue green. I think I could try these two. Let's see how they feel. I'll just test it up here. Oh, that's very yellow green. It's kind of nice. I mean, it can work in the shadow. Actually, let's try that. It's kind of nice in the shadow.
Yeah.
So I'll just go around, I'll put that down. And it gets, the green is bluer over here on these, but I can always work in another color that shows that. So I got that. Let's try this one. This is a little bit bluer over green, but it's also pretty dark. Let's see, I think I'll go over here, and I'm kind of liking how it's mixing into this blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and see, this is how my process is. It's kind of like, look at this color. Okay, that's feeling good. I'm gonna hold on to that one. Now I have these are gonna be much darker, I think. So, and this is a lot more chromatic. I don't know.
Hey Sarah, can we take a quick pause?
Sure.
Since we've got the value study, can we remove your reference photo and zoom in a little bit more on your paper so we can kind of see a little bit more in detail?
Yep. Let me turn this off, and then I'll zoom my camera. It's as far in that I can zoom without having to like.
No, that's fine. We just wanted to try to be able to see that a little bit better.
Okay. Is the camera clear?
Yes.
Is it focused? Okay. All right, so I was working with this more saturated green here, which I'm unsure. It feels a little too saturated, but I always know that I can go back over it with something that is more neutral. Or I could think about color theory and I could put a complement in there. I could get a warmer, a redder color to go on top of it if I need to. But for now, I'm just going to put a few little bits of this saturated green. I think that's enough. Don't want to overdo it because these things can get overworked quickly. So now I think I want to, let me work on this shadow. And this is a pretty neutral color here. It's probably, if I look at, so this is how I kind of try to determine if I have a neutral color. I try to look at all the colors around it to see, to identify what it is. And whenever I compare it to the shadow side of the apple and the shadow side of the bowl, it feels kind of like a purpley, it's a purpley leaning gray to me, to my eye. So I'm going to choose a color that feels more purple, like a purpley blue. Let's see how that feels. That's pretty good. And I know I can get more color harmony if I mix that purple actually right on top of the bowl as well. Yeah, I like that color. All right, so I think that's enough in the shadow. Let me move to the light. And again, I have this value. I feel pretty good about this value in the light. I'm going to go to the table color, the white table. And I could just go with a neutral color. Like I had this, this was this 15 color. I could do that. I could also ask myself, what color is it? Even though yes, it's white, but white, it's always going to have a color in it. And it feels to me maybe a slightly bluish purple leaning white. So could I try that or could I go with this? Let me actually see if I can find, I don't have one here, but let me go grab a color that looks like a purple leaning white. I have two options. I don't know if they'll work. You can see how quickly that the table gets inundated with markers.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that color.
It's gonna get darker though, so it's similar to acrylic in that it dries darker. So it doesn't go down the same.
That is good to know.
Yeah, I kind of have to watch for it. Let's see about this color. That feels, ooh, that's lighter. Okay. I think what I want to do, so here's, okay, so this is what I'm going to try. I'm going to go with this color. I'm going to try it. And I'm probably going to go over it in some areas with another color. So this is feeling a little bit too purple, but that's okay. So I know I'm going to try something else too. I'm going to go over it with that 15 that I was using before. Let it dry a little bit. And actually, before I do that, I'll just try some green because I need to get something down for the apples and light. How much time do we have?
We are at, let's see, 15 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I was like, should I start rushing or should I keep moving slowly? Let's see what I got for these greens. Okay, so I've got this green in light. Here's another one. You can see how quickly they're going dark. I'm looking for something that is maybe, these are all feel like very blue-green to me. And I think I need a little bit more of a yellow-green. Oh, that could work, but it still might be too dark. Let's see. Oh, that's a good one. All right, so this is the one. This is a C56 color. Yes, that's good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in the whole apple shapes in light. I'm gonna do all three, even though I know there's slightly different variations. And now I think my purple should be nice and dry. So I'm gonna come back over it with this color. This is just gonna warm it a little bit. I'm not gonna cover everything with this color. Yeah, how's that looking?
Looks good. So I know that we're trying to do this within, 50 minutes for Art School Live. How much time do you typically spend on one of these when you're doing a study?
For the black and white studies, I try to keep the black and white ones within like 10 minutes. I usually do them this small, about this size. For the color ones, sometimes I'll do the color ones a little bit bigger. And those can sometimes, it depends on how relaxed I am. If I'm if I'm trying to get it done and I'm trying to be fast, it usually ends up taking longer because I start to make poor decisions and then I end up having to layer a lot and then it becomes overworked and then it just takes longer to figure it out. But if I can move more methodically and slowly like I am right now, then I can get it working more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to look, I haven't done this much, like holding it up and looking at it from far away. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to kind of see it. I don't want to have my head so close to it.
Yeah, to make sure the values are reading correctly.
Yeah, and that as a whole, it just is feeling like it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm feeling good about the background now. We've got these little pops. See how we have these little pops of purple coming through?
Yeah.
I don't know how much detail you can see, but
I can see. Yeah, I can see a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So let me actually get back into this bowl. So now I have enough information. I think that the bowl is gonna determine where I want to go with everything else. And I think I need to go darker in some areas. This is a really dark blue. Let's try. This might be too, this might be too much of a yellowy blue, a green blue. Oh, this is kind of nice. It's more saturated. Yeah, that's good. And I want to start to look at the, this is where I get into the reflection. So we have reflected light on this bowl, and my students, which is not just my students, I think it's just everybody, struggles with reflected light and still life. and I always remind people, reflected light is in shadow. It's not as light as things in light. It's light indirectly hitting the shadow side of something. And so we want to keep it in the shadow value range. We want to keep it darker. So that's why, you know, I did not see this as light at the beginning, where I see a lot of my students will put in the reflected light as a light, and then everything looks wonky when that happens. So you have to just remember, because our eyes trick us. Our eyes want it to read as light, but it's not. So this was a good color. Let me go. Actually feel like I could do a little bit of hatching with this color, maybe. Get some darker stuff down here. So this is going to be the really satisfying part. Well, hopefully. So I don't want to skip too soon, because I could just mess the whole thing up. So these are my opaque blues, and they're all very chromatic. They're all very saturated colors. And whenever I put my, so I'm going to start thinking about this color here, this very saturated blue. See if I, ooh, look at that. That's really bright. It's a good color. Let's see if there's another one that would be better. That's also nice. It's a little bit more neutral. And that goes a little bit lighter. That's pretty nice too. I could use that for the highlight. Do I want to try any of these blues that lean more cool? Ooh. Also good. I want to use all of them, but I should definitely not do that. All right, these are two like cool over here. I think this was the one. Yeah, that's the one. I like this one. So I'm going to start to put in the rim. Oh, that's nice.
Ooh, look at that. That just made it pop.
I know, it's very exciting. But you have to wait till the end for these fun things. Because if you do them early, everything gets messy. I promise. You want to get yourself a nice foundation before you go and do the fun, juicy highlights. So this, I think, is a little bit lighter. So I could go, let's see, I feel like I could go a little bit lighter here. And maybe, that's helpful too, that edge. Nice. It's working out. That was too light right there, but I can fix it. Go. Actually, I'll show you this. So if you put down a mark that's too light and it's opaque, you can always go over it with your, once it's dry, it seems dry.
They seem to dry pretty quickly, right?
They do. But see, I can just go over it a little bit with the alcohol marker. And, you know, it's not the greatest, it doesn't always work. It depends on the brand. Like this brand actually goes over much more uniformly. There we go, that's better. You might not be able to see see how, because sometimes the alcohol marker will pool on top of the acrylic. And so it doesn't, do you get what I mean? Like it doesn't want to like uniformly sit on the surface, but yeah, this brand tends to not work well on top. This brand works well if you put it on top of the opaque. So I think
when you're doing these for, you know, you're planning your composition, you're doing your value study, color study, will you do this in multiple color variations to kind of see how you want to approach your painting? Or do you pretty much have an idea before you go into it?
Not with the markers. I do that in paint. So the markers, usually for color studies, The markers are more to practice color and to just like challenge myself around color. I'm sure I mean, I could start to use them that way, but so far I haven't. I like to make, like I'll make these. I have a painting right here, like a little color study. This is just a study of a composition I'm working on. This is an oil. And I like to do these just to start to get a sense of my overall palette that I need to mix.
Mhm.
And I do that ahead of time, and it might be like a month or something before I go and paint the finished painting, but I have this as a reference to mix my color from. But I haven't done that yet with the marker studies, so I probably could.
We've got about 5 minutes.
Okay, so I feel pretty good about where this is. So now I need to just do a few small things to finish it out and just give some final little pops. So maybe some highlights on these apples. Do I have anything I can do light? None of these greens are very light. So I might have to go into, maybe I could find a yellow. Let me grab a yellow. So here's some really bright, light yellows and yellow greens. Ooh, that's exciting.
Oh yeah, that is.
But it's gonna get darker, so that's a little too yellow. This one might be good because it's a pale yellow. It's too light. I think this one. So let's see what I can do with this one. That works. Do that there. Or maybe I can even just do it over here. I might want to allow, I can put a little bit of yellow. Let's see. Oh yeah, that works. It just pops it out a little bit more because the highlights are going to be a little bit different on each apple. Like one is closer, one has more light. That top one has the most light on it. So I might even want to, let me try this, lighten this whole section, this apple. Maybe do the same thing there. And see, now I'm just gonna start playing with stuff because I'm like, ooh, what if I darkened this just a little bit? That's nice. And I have, let's see, this color. That doesn't really do much for me, I don't think. So I'm not going to do anything with that. I think I'm good with the lit side of the apples, except I want to go and reestablish that highlight. And I didn't put anything for the, what do you call the center of an apple? I never know what to call it. Like a divot. It's always what I want to call it.
Where the stem is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
Like, what do you call it?
They probably have, I just call it the top of an apple.
The top. But it kind of goes in and there's a little bit of a, I don't put it early in a painting or in a study like this. I try to keep it more, just think of it as just a full round shape. But then at the end, it is quite satisfying to go and pop in like just something to denote where that is. Because then you see the form.
Oh yeah.
Now the form shows through. I think this needs to go darker here. That's another thing you can do with these alcohol markers is you can, if you layer them, you just put more layers of the same color, they get darker. Let me go and add a little occlusion shadow. See, I've lost my way. Where are all my markers? There's the one I'm looking for.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. I'll just get a dark color. It's not really the right color, but that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I need purple. There we go. And I'll go and do a dark spot right under here. I need to go darker than that. Here's where I'll do one opaque in the shadow, and I might regret it because it might be too dark. Oh no, it's okay. This is my black opaque acrylic. And then I'll do, okay, one more thing. This is how I get in trouble when I'm like, just one more thing.
Just one more.
Just one more thing. Okay, let me go back to these pretty blues. Get a nice highlight right there. All right, anything else? Did I miss anything?
It looks good. I'm excited. I need to go order some markers now so that I can start practicing and planning my paintings.
Yeah, it's so fun and they're so easy to like get out. They're not messy. You don't have to do any cleaning before or after, whenever you're done.
Carl has a question. Do they have a clear alcohol pen that you use for removal? I don't know if that would work.
A clear alcohol pen that
Yeah,
you use
sometimes they have like erasable markers that we used to have like back in the day.
You know, they have a blender color, which is basically clear, but it doesn't erase. And that is used for, I mean, if you're trying to put two colors together, but I don't think it works on this kind of paper. So this is not the marker. This is not marker paper. There is marker paper you use that's a little bit more slick on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can do more blending. But with this, I find just layering is how I blend.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this demo, Sarah. This was very helpful and very enlightening on, because I definitely tend to rush my paintings and I don't want to sit down and do the value study or the thumbnail sketches and all that kind of stuff. So this made it a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to try that and see if I can get myself back into doing the prep work before I just jump into a painting.
Yes, it definitely makes it fun and it makes it easier. And then it helps you get excited about a painting because now you have a little thing that you can see what your painting might look like.
Love it. We are going to drop Sarah's website and Instagram in the chat. Be sure to check her out, 𝗨𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏.com and at Sarah Calandro Art. She has so many wonderful things that she shares on Instagram, so be sure to check it out. She is an awesome artist. And Sarah, thank you so much for coming on today. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Kari.
We have a gift for everyone watching today. Don't forget, download the free 97 Incredible Art Secrets. Go to 97artsecrets.com/ASL to get that. And if you haven't signed up for Planner Live, it's not too late. November 6th through the 8th, we've got Essentials Day on November 5th. 3 days to fast track your journey to outdoor painting to really help you kind of understand those techniques that the master artists use to really improve their outdoor painting, which is really great painting from life. Just being able to capture colors and the nuances of, you know, the shifting light and everything, because photos lie. So Planner Live is a great place to go if you want to check out how to really improve your planner painting. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel at Art School Live on YouTube and at Eric Rhoads on Instagram. And speaking of Eric, we actually have a video from him.
Hey, it's Eric Rhoads, and today we're in Venice. It's raining, it's pouring, the old, you know the drill. Anyway, if you look at the water out there, it is like up to our ankles, and we had to wade through the water this morning to be able to get over here, but we are undercover. We've been using umbrellas walking around this morning. And part of our group is not painting today. They just said, no, I don't want to paint in the rain, but we have a nice dry spot. I got kicked out of this spot over here. This lady here at this store, she said, do not paint in front of my window, so don't buy anything from them. Okay. Anyway, it's not raining right now. And if you come out here just a little bit, you can see the whole square. Just take a look at the square. It's absolutely beautiful. And a little bit wet. I wish I'd brought my boots, but I didn't want to carry them in my suitcase. Anyway, you can see the people tiptoeing across and the splashing, and people are going down to the cathedral because they want to tour the cathedral. It really is going to make some beautiful paintings because of all the colorful umbrellas and raincoats and everything else. And look at the beautiful reflection in the water. Now, I'm over here trying to get it done, and I really screwed up already because I made my tower. I had it here, and this needed to be way down here. Now I've taken it all the way up to the top of the page. I think I'm just going to kill it and start over because I just, it's better to get it right than to continue on something that's going to be a failure. Anyway, that's where I am. Our group is here today. Some of our group left us at the Milan airport, and then the rest of us came on, about half of us came on to Venice. Now we have a painter right here. This is Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Now, see, you got it right. You got the tower right. Yeah, she's doing watercolor. We went to an art store here in Italy this morning, and we all bought some extra supplies that we didn't need, but that's what you do when you're in Italy. And today we're going to have some great food and a lot more fun, so we wish you were here. Bye. So here I am. I'm in St. Mark's Square in Venice. And this guy comes up to me. This is Timo. Timo is from Germany, and Timo was actually on Art School Live.
Yeah, what a great coincidence to run into Eric in the field live, which is amazing.
Yeah, so he was on Art School Live while I was gone last week. Kari hosted, and so you got to watch him on YouTube. But here we are. He's walking down the road here or the pathway here
in St. Mark's Square.
In St. Mark's Square, and he's like, "Are you Eric?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Timo. I'm a plein painter, and I like to do different techniques, mainly watercolor, and that's one of the demos I did online, which is painting night scenes in watercolor. And right now I've got also some oil paints with me, so. Yes. Depending on the weather, you can adapt your technique.
Yeah, so see this weather?
It's just awful.
It's just awful. It's not great for watercolor. I'm using gouache, and I just went out and painted in gouache in the rain. It's not exactly easy.
Yeah, it's not. It's really tough weather for painting in Venice, but nonetheless, I mean, people are here, and it's amazing. Like, warrior painters, more or less.
Yeah. So, you want to go painting with me today?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
Yeah.
Painting.
Okay. We're gonna go painting together. Maybe we'll even do nocturne because we've been doing nocturne.
Oh, I'll be down for that. I've got my headlamp. I'm set. I'm set for painting.
Well, the lights are so strong in these squares, you don't even need your headlamp.
You do.
So, it's all right. Great. Well, we just want to report in, tell you guys what's going on, and your Instagram handle.
My Instagram is 𝗍𝗶𝗵, so Timo Timo and BECHERT.
BECHERT.
Yeah, you'll find me like that.
Okay, and I'm Eric Rhoads, ERICRHOADS, but then you know that. Okay, guys, thanks. Say hi to our friend Guy. All right. We'll talk to you later. Nice meeting you, Timo.
How cool is that? That is so awesome that Timo happened to be in Venice at the same time as Eric. That is so cool. I love that. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We have Sari, I hope I'm saying that right, 𝗨𝘀𝗲 𝗊𝗶𝗵. Hope I'm saying that right. She's coming in tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.